me not a card trick, Noah. Imagine a pack of cards, all right? Picture a pack of cards in your mind. Now we're going to go really fast here. You can't jump ahead, and you've got to go really mega quick. And you've got to answer so I can hear you, and you can't jump ahead. Just specific questions really fast. Okay, so we're going to play a game. So we take the jokers out, all right? And going really fast, all right? Really fast. Once you take those jokers out without jumping ahead, you got two colors. You got black, you got red. Pick one real quick.
Red.
Of red. You got hearts, you got diamonds. Pick one real quick.
Diamonds.
Of the diamonds, you got numbers, you got face.
Face.
Of the face, you got the jack, the queen, the king.
Jack.
Queen and king left. Pick one.
King. What?
15, collecting rent checks, first to the 15. Life and starlight, count my lucky stars, I'm alright. Things are looking up, my desires are on sight. Gotta keep grinding, make sure that it lasts forever, not only one.
Hey everyone, what's up? It's Noah from Cola REI, famously hot real estate market. I'm so excited for tonight's interview. Man, I got someone special for you. Last night we had a great meetup, a re-up meeting. We talked about private money lending, had an awesome time, learned a lot, shared a lot. And what's awesome is that so many of you have been reaching out to me, and I had someone reach out via text message of all things and said, hey, look, I love the interview. Or I love the workshop. I learned a lot. You know, one of my big concerns when it comes to talking to private money lenders and talking to sellers and buyers and really communicating in general is how do I talk to them? What do I say? You know, this person is very comfortable doing text messaging, but not necessarily talking face to face, and really just communicating and ask for references and resources of how he could improve his communication skills. And so I'm excited because like that, I went out and got one of the top communication coaches that's out there. He's a good friend of mine. His name's Jamie Miller, and he is a co-founder of Conscious Communication. And I can't wait to get him on and ask him questions. So without further ado, let's bring to the big show my good friend and communication coach, Jamie Miller. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm phenomenal, Noah. Phenomenal. Thank you for having me on this platform tonight, mate.
Oh, we're so excited to have you. Hey, Jamie, I'm going to cut to the chase.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to ask the question that's just like burning everybody up inside right now. And that's, does a person have to have a beautiful English accent and rock hard abs in order to be an effective communicator like you?
You know what? It's funny because it's kind of left me a little bit speechless there. No, in all regards, no. None of my clients have British accents. I give them all permission to be their glorious selves. You know, it's funny. It's interesting because of our mutual friend. For a second there, my head went to John Servideo, because he used to say that loud places were like my kryptonite because people couldn't hear my accent. All right, so I would get louder and be like, "Hello." And if John Servideo watches this at any point, he'll crack up. Now, for your viewers who are watching this, you do not have to have a British accent, and you certainly don't have to have rock hard abs. And the skill sets that I'll teach you guys tonight will be things that the hope will be you'll see that you can implement them. So,
all right, so I have hope.
You have tons of hope.
Okay, all right, great. So you're a communications coach, and I've been, you know, we've been friends for a long time, and I've been studying your work for a while now too, and watching interviews that you've been doing and your Facebook posts and the content that you provide is extremely valuable. And I feel like there's a need for it in society right now. I truly do. And, you know, talking to my friend the other night after our event solidified that. I said, I got to get Jamie on the show here, an interview, because, you know, we're so used nowadays to text messaging and maybe just trying to do everything through email. But, you know, our group here, Jamie, we're real estate investors, real estate agents, and or both, or inspiring to be. And one thing I found is that, you know, when you're talking to a seller or a soon-to-be client, and they're selling a house, and maybe they're not comfortable with text messaging, right? They're old-fashioned. They want to pick up the phone and have a good old conversation, and to truly build rapport with that seller, it involves sitting down at the kitchen table and finding out what's important to them and communicating with them. And I feel like your skill set can add a lot of value to this group here tonight. Now, you own a company called Conscious Communication and wrote a book about it. So tell us a little bit about like what conscious communication is. What does that mean to you and to the people that you help?
The best way that I could describe conscious communication is not just like knowing like what wording we're going to say. It's more important as to why we're going to say something, you know, and understanding the psychology of let's be outcome driven. As human beings, the human nature is to go to a very amateur place with some of the questions that we ask, and we're wired to ask some of the worst questions on the planet.
Like right? What's one of the worst questions to ask?
Well, first off, how are you? It's not that we don't care about people. It's just that how are you? A lot of people, if you're meeting them cold, I can ask you how you are. No, we're friends. I'm not selling you anything. For anyone on this platform where you're going to go and sell a complete stranger and you only have a finite amount of time with that person and you start your dialogue with how are you? If I was a stranger to you and you ask me how I am, I'm going to be like, well, since you asked, let me tell you about my whole entire day. All right. Okay. Or you're getting a very flippant response. Yeah, I'm good. All right. And it's disingenuous from that.
Sure.
Standpoint. Another example, since you have kids, Noah, and if the other people who are watching this are like us, they have kids too. When your kids do something wrong, the amateur approach for a parent is immediately to say, what were you thinking? Why did you do that? And if we think about it, we really don't want the answer to why they did it. All right. We want to ask them a more conscious question at the start as, hey, can you share with me why you shouldn't have done that? All right. And it's just a tweak. And here's what will happen. Your kids, their eyes will go in their head. They'll start thinking why they shouldn't have done it. And then they're going to start talking, which means they're going to start selling themselves to you on why they shouldn't have done it. Other amateur questions, trying to eat. And it's interesting. I'm talking about the kids and people are like, well, what's this got to do with me, with my clients? It has everything that every communication, how you communicate with your kids at home is the same exact dialogue to your clients. Is it okay if I give an example?
Yeah, go. Yeah, please.
Okay. And I'll break it down for them so they understand conscious. My daughter's on her device too much. I don't want her on a device. The last thing I'm going to go and do, though, is tell her, get off her device. Why? No one likes being told what to do. Your clients out there will not be like being told things, all right? You're making statements. You don't know if they value it. So I just do this. I'm like, Ruby, is it a really good thing or a really bad thing, Ruby, to be on your device? Which, just to help you guys out there, that's a multiple choice question, which means I'm leading the direction of the conversation. She says it's bad. I'm like, Ruby, why is it bad? To elevate it. She goes, oh, I'll end up with no friends, no social life, like a hermit in a room all by myself. I'm like, oh, Ruby, that sounds terrible. How would that feel if that was your setup in life? She's like, awful. I'm like, okay. So when it comes to your device, what are your thoughts, Ruby? She goes, I don't think I should be on it so much. I'm like, I agree with you. And when you can conscious communication is knowing I can get someone to a place where I say, I agree with you. I've made it their idea. If your realtors, real estate investors can get someone in front of them to a place where they've said these words at the end, I agree with you. Right, when it comes to using their services, they've swum the channel.
Yeah.
Right? And there's more plays with that you can do consciously. I do something where I read minds. I could try and read your mind on the air. No, I've never done it in a podcast, so it could be kind of interesting.
You want to do it?
Do you think your audience would like it if I read your mind?
Sure, why not? So it sounds like what you're doing is with conscious communication is you're like planning, you're like 3 steps ahead and being conscious of the questions that you're asking instead of just blurting something out or attacking someone. You're trying to make it their idea with what you want.
Completely. And let's just preface for the record, everyone out there, no manipulation, ethics, moral, high integrity. It's never okay to make someone do something they don't want to do. All right. Sure. However, if someone is looking to sell a house and you're a realtor looking to get a listing, is it okay if you believe in your services you provide to just be a better communicator than other realtors out there in order to get the listing? If you're an investor, and you're getting a private money lender, is it okay if just because you've got elevated communication skills, they're still wanting to use that service. You're not manipulating someone into something. However, you just have a awareness about, I'm going to ask this person some really good questions. So when they open up, I'm going to be listening to really good information. I'm not going to ask them, well, I've bought 50 houses, all right, and I'm the number one person for doing this. Why wouldn't you go with me? Well, thanks for asking me why I wouldn't go with you. Let me share with you all the reasons why I wouldn't go with you. Because you're all right.
Yeah, right.
And that's how I got Edward Jones. The guy knocked on my door and said, is there any reasons why you wouldn't want life insurance? I said, are there any reasons why you'd want to rethink that question? All right. And literally he goes, oh my God, I just asked you why you wouldn't want it. I'm like, well, he goes, is that what you do for a living? I said, if it was, would you place a value on it? He said, hell yeah. And he said, can I get your number? I'm like, great. And notice I didn't tell him what I do. I just made it clear for those who play the tape back, like, hold a minute. He didn't even tell him. He just asked questions that got the response I was looking for.
The person that is asking the questions controls where the conversation is headed.
100,000,000%. Then there's good questions, there's bad questions. How are you? Not a good question. Someone says, I think my house is worth X. This happens a lot in your industry. Yeah. I think my house is worth X. What's the one question? The second someone says, I think my house is worth X, what is the one question that every realtor and every investor asks on the planet to that person? The seller says, I think my house is worth X. What's the first question without that person?
Probably like, who told you that? Or where did you get that information?
Where did you get that information from? Or why do you think that?
Yeah.
Now, for your audience who's watching this, who's asking that question, why is that a bad question? Watch this. Someone said they think their house is worth X, and you don't necessarily agree with them. All right. And you're asking them why they think it. You've now given them an ability to justify and open up why they believe something to be true, and you have to listen to them. So they're going off on a tangent, selling themselves on a number, and you gave them permission because whoever asks the questions wins conversation. However, the question you asked was amateur because you asked them to sell themselves on something. You only have one option then, Noah. You have to come in afterwards and argue. That's an argument.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not. Right. And then,
And there is an approach you can do, and I'll share it here, and hopefully people can, whether they write it down or play it back. If someone said, I think my house is worth X, I'll be like, I get it. I can see at this moment in time why you could be thinking that way. There's something about your home I haven't shared with you yet. Is it okay if I share something about it with you? And then I'm going to pepper them with these questions. I'm not going to tell them anything. Hey, I pride myself on being professional. Would you believe that I've done this a number of times? I'm nodding my head yes to get them to nod their head yes in front of me. Okay. Even when I say I pride myself on being professional, I've done this a number of times. Here's what's going through their mind. This guy's a professional. He's done it a number of times. I probably should listen to him. Oh, and by the way, you do want to sell the property fast, right? Yeah. And if you're like me, you value your time. All right. And which, you like me, we've made us the same based around time. Sure. They're just going along with you. And then you say, I had a whole team of people analyze what's sold within a real small radius of where we're stood right now. And based on what we found out to value your time and get your home sold fast, this is the number that we came up with. And then you throw out a question, a sales question, a call to action question. Now that I've just shared all that with you, can you see where this makes a lot more sense? Here's what I didn't do. I didn't give them ability to go selling themselves on a price point that has got no bearing on the sale.
Right.
So most people look at that as what obviously you and I know is a boom moment. All right. Sure. So hopefully.
I'm gonna rewind the tape. Because that can work not just for agents, but also investors, right? As investors, we meet people all the time. Like that's one of the questions that, and maybe I should sit down with you and have you rewrite my lead sheet. So if the phone rings, there's questions that we ask, and one of them, I'm like kicking myself right now in the gut. I'm like, gosh, one of them that I ask is, if you had to put a number, what do you think your house is worth? Why am I even asking that question? I know what their house is worth. Why am I even going to have them sell me on, and maybe you just did that to me. I don't know. I'm selling myself on why I need to hire you to rewrite my scripts for when people call.
Why should you hire me, Noah? I'm just being cheeky. All right. No, okay. No, the funny thing is with scripts, because I've got a lot of realtors who are clients and from all different brokerages, and they all have typically 11 questions. They all start with this. Hi, I'm so-and-so with so-and-so. All right, I'm so-and-so with Coldwell Banker. I'm so-and-so with Keller Williams. And that's all they know to say. It's human nature. Here's the deal. Have everyone who's watching, think about what you want to do when someone calls you up cold and they start their dialogue with, hi, this is so-and-so with so-and-so. And think about what you want to do. And most people say, hang up. All right. And then the 11 questions that are part of the scripting. All right. 9 of them are discovery questions, like the kind of questions you're asking. And 2 of them are about a meeting. And the truth of the matter is we want to be more outcome driven. All right. Outcome driven means the whole point of a phone call, an email or text is just to sell the meeting. So everything else is arbitrary, is randomness.
Yeah.
All right. You were talking about people looking, do I text? Do I what have you? I don't care what the technology age is. Everyone says they're better at face-to-face sales. Everyone says I'm better in face-to-face. And the truth of the matter is, I've never met anyone who likes long emails. I just haven't. If someone is watching this and they like long emails, I'm like, God bless you. All right. Most people don't like long emails. If someone asks you a question in an email about your services, that is the perfect ability for you to turn around and say, the mere fact you even have that question is amazing. And will address that at the meeting. Because it's at the meeting where you can really ask some great questions and get them to completely sell themselves. So you can end with the verbiage, I agree with you. Using me is a great idea.
Yeah.
All right?
That's good. You know, we actually had a question from one of our members in the group, Delaney, and she said, you know, if you're an investor or an agent and you have the person's phone number, you have a lead, right? And I thought this was kind of a neat idea. She says, hey, would you recommend sending a video as like a first interaction to introduce yourself, or would you recommend calling? And in my mind, I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe, you know, I think it's all about the message and what's being said, not necessarily the median that you use. But what would you say to that? Like,
okay, so I am an advocate of the video message from this standpoint. When you're writing an email, you have to think of your words, and you're so hard on yourselves in terms of the words that you're writing. And if we've never had any correspondence from them initially, like I think you've probably studied this, and maybe your group has studied this before. I don't know how consciously aware they're doing it. If someone writes to me, hi, Jamie, I'm able to write hi back, not hello, not good evening. I'm able to match them for the wording that they use. All right. If we're proactively reaching out to people, we don't know what verbiage they like. The video that she's doing is a higher level from the standpoint of her tonality can come across. She can smile. It can be engaging. Yeah. However, I would encourage the message still has to be one of selling a meeting and nothing else. And Noah, you're going to love this because I don't think we've addressed this yet during this interview. Removing the words I want, all right, from the dialogue of that. So Delaney, do not be saying the words I would like to meet with you, or I want to meet with you, or all right, I want to meet you because I think I can do this. All right. Here's the truth for everyone watching this right now. No one cares about what you want. All right. And it's not always the easiest thing to remove wording. I've removed it completely from my dialogue. No one will ever hear me say I want unless I'm teaching people not to say I want. Yeah. All right. Here's the way I would go about it so people can be like, well, what would you say? A good example. Hey, everyone who's watching this, if you were me, you're sat here, Noah has invited you along this evening to share wisdom with the whole entire group. Would you want to make sure that you left everyone feeling inspired and glad that they watched the interview? Is that how you would want to address everyone? And they're all going like Noah's head is going like this. Sure. Yes, great. Then you're going to appreciate where I'm coming from. Not at one point do I say I want. Here's what I do. I put them in my shoes. If I'm a realtor and I go to a meeting, a listing appointment, but one of the first things out of my mouth, hey, if you were me and you're a realtor, would you want to make your clients feel very comfortable in the shortest space of time to list your home? Is that what you would want? They're going to say, yes. Okay, great. So what do you need to hear from me today to feel that sense of comfort to list with me? It's the same thing for an investor. Yeah. If you're me and you're an investor and you knew that you could do the deal of the century with someone that helped them win-win situation, and you could make it seamless, and you could click your fingers to create urgency in that moment, all right, Would you want to make sure you have those kind of relationships? The seller's going to say, yes, great. So as an investor, what do you need to hear from me to feel that sense of security so that we can move forward? I can buy your home and you can feel great about it.
That's gold, because
does that make sense?
Yeah. And you know what? This is great too, because we have, we have like newer agents, newer investors as well. Maybe some people who haven't established themselves yet. And, credibility is like, oh, I'm newer, right? They have like that fear that's natural, I suppose. And it's intimidating. Like for some people can come in and say, like there's a couple of big shot agents around here that it's crazy to me how there can be like 10 number ones, right? But everyone's a number one. I'm a number one. I'm the number one. And it's like, I actually heard you on an interview. I forget who it was with, but you said, hey, look, nobody cares if someone's number one. Like maybe that's important to some people, but instead of just shoving it down someone's throat, like I'm the number one agent, the number one team, maybe taking a step and finding out what's important to them, because maybe that's not.
Well, a couple of things just came up for me as you just were talking. One is, look, I believe in humility. I love the fact that Mickey Mantle said a quote. It astounds him how much he learns about a game that he dedicated his whole life to and what he doesn't know about it. All right. If I ever come across someone who says they know everything, I'm running in the opposite direction. That's me personally. All right. I think we're always growing, always learning. Secondly, I'm going to help the viewers out there that are the rookies, all right, that feel like a rookie, that feel like this sense of insecurity. Why would this person list their home with me when they can use 10 number ones, all right, and they're approaching someone? And here's almost like a scripted approach. I don't believe in scripts from the standpoint of word for word. And no, you do not have to have a British accent. And I'm going to share stuff, and I'm encouraging you guys to make this your own. However, if I'm a rookie agent and I'm approaching the wealthiest individual on the planet in my backyard, and I'm driving up to their house and I've got a crap heap of a car, all right, and I'm pulling up there, here's what I'm going to understand. I need to put that person in my shoes with conscious dialogue, all right? And one thing I know that everyone on the planet, especially wealthy men, all right, have a lot of ego. And we know typically that if we praise that individual, they love praise. Everyone loves praise. Noah, do you like it when you get a compliment?
Of course.
Everyone does. So if I'm a rookie agent, you guys who are insecure, thinking, why would someone take me seriously? Here's why. I would be young. I'm approaching. I'll be like, you know what? Seriously, well done. Like amazing. Like what you've achieved in life. I could only wish to aspire, as I point to my crap heap of a car. Like I only wish to aspire to achieve what you've achieved in life. Hey, I'm real curious. I've just got one question for you. On this journey to achieve everything that you've achieved here, did you ever come across people where you felt like they didn't take you as seriously as what you thought they should have taken you? And what do you think everyone's going to say? No, have you ever had someone not take you as seriously as what you thought?
Sure. Yeah. I showed them, right?
Yeah. And then what you're going to do, you're going to say, then you're going to completely understand where I am at. All right. And then here's what they're going to say. You know what, kid? I was you. I relate to where you are. I'm going to give you a shot. And all of a sudden, just from your dialogue of giving praise on purpose to the individual and then putting them in your shoes and building rapport, you bridge the whole gap of whatever years of whatever experience. And they're like, because they're relating to the fact I was you one day in my life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense from a psychological standpoint? Hopefully,
conscious. To me, that's like like a great example of conscious communication.
Make people the same. People buy from people they feel the same as. All right. Yeah. People don't want to buy from people they feel completely different from. That's why when someone says hello to you, say hello, not hi. If someone says kids to you, don't say children. If I started speaking in Shakespearean English on this platform right now, everyone would switch off. There too art thou hither. Like they're like, Noah, get this guy off of here.
Can't relate. You know,
because we've lost people.
Yeah. Do you think, and this is a question from Christy.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Nothing too out there, right? That's another show.
I gave you full blessing. I just happen to like a challenge, so it could be any question. It's fine.
Okay. She goes, "Hey, ask Jamie. Does he feel like people are afraid of doing face to face, or do you just feel like as a society we've kind of lost that skill set of talking to people?"
I feel that. Okay, so I feel that our generation, we didn't grow up with these things, so we've got half a chance of having face to face. You and I talked about the fact that when you stop doing something, you forget it. I just happen to not forget it because I'm teaching it daily to people. And I'm sharpening that saw, iron sharpens iron. And I would say that the younger generations, like my kids, I'm very proactive in making sure that Ruby and Harrison, I have a lot of dialogue with them, and I ask good questions so I get them to open up. Yeah. If anyone who goes out in society, I was out in a place in Winter Park and I saw these two young college girls because, Florida's more open up than the rest of the world. And they're sat at a table, Noah, and both of them are playing their games, different games on their phones, sat at a table in a restaurant, not conversing with each other one bit. So I think there is some element to society that is maybe going to have insecurities around the face-to-face. However, I believe in certain things can't get beaten up. Whoever asks questions wins conversations. You ask me a question. If I ask you a question straight back, I'm controlling that conversation. I'm not advocating that anyone who's watching this becomes a politician and never answers a question.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah.
And you used the word importance earlier on. If someone asks you a question, you ask them, is that important? 9 times out of 10, by the way, it's not that important. So if someone ever throws up an objection, all right, and you ask, is that really important? They're going to say, no, not really. So don't have to address bad objections. Secondly, I think that when people get face-to-face, they're elevating their chances of actually getting business. I don't believe we're ever going to go to a stage. I don't care what technology comes out in the world. I don't believe there's going to be a substitute for a face-to-face interaction. And truthfully, I think face-to-face is even what we're doing right now. Virtual is, and actually virtual is amazing. Why? Yeah. When you get on, if someone was getting on with me right now and they were trying to sell me something, rather than saying, Jamie, how are you? No, you've got a completely nothing behind you. It's a beautiful, classy look. All right. However, what I would say if someone was, if I was calling me and I'm like, hey, what is that image behind you? I'm like, oh, that's my son's drawing. He draws DC and Marvel. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, my son, he loves Cruz. My son Cruz loves Spider-Man. Oh, dude, oh, my Harrison, what are we doing? We've not asked how are you, and we're building bonding, commonality.
Sure.
The Fox said, what's that coffee sign? Oh,
I was actually looking at that earlier, and I was gonna ask you.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here in communication, so people can get this, is you are being given tons of ammunition when it comes to virtual face-to-face to be able to open up dialogue where it's all subliminal and you can build rapport to then get to a really powerful question that there can be one-off questions that you can ask that can get you anything you want in life, from a date to a client to anything, without oversharing.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is you don't need to be number one, and no one cares if you're number one, and no one cares about you. All right. It's not about what you think you can bring in value to people. All right. It's about what do they value. You find out one thing they value and you can deliver on it, you're going to get a client. And that's it. It's very simple.
What kind of I'm just curious now, because you just mentioned dating. Do you help people with that too? I'm just curious.
Okay, so
what type of clients do you help other than just like real estate agents and because these apply to all different industries?
Yeah, the way I teach communication is so if I said the movie Karate Kid to you, Noah, all right, and I do this motion, what does that mean to you? What would you say that means?
Wax on, wax off.
Right. So when Daniel's learning wax on, wax off, he's like, Mr. Miyagi, what's that got to do with karate? And then by the end of the movie, it had everything to do with karate, right?
Yeah. He's blocking the kicks.
Okay. I could teach your audience right now a question that that someone can get a date on. Let's say it was me. All right. And let's say it's my clients too. All right. you can get a date, and it's the same question that if I was a realtor, I would get a listing. And it's the same question, meaning it doesn't matter what the industry, it doesn't matter what the communication transcends everything. I could ask you, if I wanted to sell you my services, Noah, I could ask the same question that I'm asking a girl to go on a date with me for. Here's the question. Right, if I'm a realtor working for Coldwell Banker, all right, let's say hypothetically, I would go into a meeting. Hey, before I start sharing about myself and Coldwell Banker, all right, some people, they've gone on social media and they've like found out things about me before I even get there. So just out of curiosity, before I even share anything around Coldwell Banker and myself, what benefits would you come up with for using me to list your home? All right. And you wouldn't believe some of the most random things that people come up with. I've turned around and just so people can see it in this space, I've turned around to people and said, hey, before I start sharing anything around conscious communication and myself, what benefits would you come up with for being really good in communication? What are they then going to start doing? They're going to start telling me everything they value about being better in communication. And I haven't shared a thing. And that's what I do at the beginning of all my presentations. And here's what I want them to say. I've just said that. All right. Here's what I want them to say. It's not like say, I want you to say this. All right. This is what they say. Oh, I'll bring on way more clients if I'm better in communication. Great. That's perfect to hear for me, because all I then need to show them is that I know something around communication that they don't. So that they're like, I'm like, at the end, do you believe I can help you with that spell based on what absolutely. Great. Well, you said earlier that you'll make more money if you're better in that field. Would you believe there's way more information I could teach you? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of value do you place on being better at this stuff? A low one or a high one? They say high. Then they can't, when I say what the investment is, they can't say, oh, that's a lot of money. Why? Because I've got them to place a really high value on it and that they're going to make more money doing it.
Sure.
So, and it's the same thing for a date. I turn around to go, hey, before I share anything about myself, what benefits would you come up with for us to go to a coffee next week? And everyone on the platform doesn't know me. However, I think you can attest, you believe, and it doesn't take the slide I was going to show you has an American guy who used that question, and the girl wrote an entire essay to him on all these benefits. Yeah, I wish that I could post
it on your Facebook. I'll have everybody reach out to you and find you on Facebook too.
Well, they can just go to Art of Conscious Communication, or I'm friends with you on my personal Noah, and so anyway, I've still got room within those 5,000 that they let you have.
You still got a couple seats?
If you're a mutual friend of Noah Harris or Christy, all right, I am happy to have you as a friend on Facebook with that for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, Jamie. I owe you a lot. I don't know if we ever talked about this or not, but I remember a long time ago, probably 9 years ago, Christy was at an event, and you and her were working together. And I flew in because it was a cool city, fun town. So I was going to have some fun. Well, you guys were helping people, and I was at the bar having a beer, and you came over and we were talking. And one of the first times that we had met, I think, and you're like, we're introducing ourselves to each other, and I was kind of like stressed out about work, and ironically, you knew who my boss was at the time, and I had been in real estate and found myself at this job for some reason, and just wasn't happy. And you asked me a question, and I'll never forget it. And it was just real simple. You were just like, no, I've heard things of this man, and he doesn't seem like a very nice person. Now is he? And that little question there got me thinking, and I was like, you know what? This guy is a bit of an ass. Why am I wasting my time working for this person? And shortly after that, I quit to go back to doing real estate investing full time. And I don't know, I think I owe a lot of our, I don't want to say success, but a lot of where I'm at now to leaving that job and probably to that question,
No, we were talking a little bit beforehand. I don't think it was during it was definitely beforehand, and we were talking a lot. And one of the things that's important to me is that no matter whether it's Edward Jones to whatever platform I get to, it's never to change, never to lose sight of, and to be that person. You could invite me anytime. No, why? Because I love you. All right, genuinely, and I love Christy, and it's good people to be around. All right, and never get too big for your boots. I don't bode well with that. And one of the things I said to you is, if you love doing events where it's champagne, beer, and that's the culture,
Yeah.
don't change. Don't get so big that you lose sight of the cultural things. And we've both been with organizations where, I believe that people can lose sight of, they move the goalposts on stuff. And I truly, maybe I'm naive, I have this true belief that you can maintain staying humble, staying the person that you are, and doing things from a cultural standpoint that don't ever change, and that's just the way I intend to go about it, in life. Every single one of my clients, from a psychological standpoint, they all get, like Nick, the top one here, Nick Ketchum, is in Oregon. You'll see 2 smile faces. Ruby is my daughter.
Yeah. Got it.
Zafira, smile face. Every person in my phone who gets a smiley face after their name is a client of mine. And it's a psychological thing, meaning I'm always happy to get that phone call. It's never and that's because I don't care whether it's 10 years time. I'm blessed that they came into my life. They're good people. Wow. I qualify that I love, because there's no amount of money that's worth teaching someone who's going to be a headache in my life, Noah. So,
yeah.
I would like to believe that, thank you for that, those kind words on where you've gone in life as a result of a conversation we've had. The truth of the matter is I'll always have time for you guys. I'll always have time for a Zach Hernandez. I'll always have time for a Johnson video. I'll always have, there's certain people where time can fly and it doesn't matter. There's certain people, it doesn't always go that way. However, it's just a case of I don't believe in losing sight of things when it comes to those scenarios. And so everyone else on the platform who's watching this can make anything of that they want.
Yep. We call that you fit right in the groove of high level conversations with really great down to earth people. And that's a big part of what this group, Cola REI, Famously Hot, is. And so we're Jamie, we're glad you're a part of it, man. You're in here.
Oh, I'm glad. And one of the other things, guys, for those and you don't need me to say this about Noah Christie. However, one of the things I really, really put a lot of emphasis on and love is when you're learning from people that are actually doing it. All right. They're actually and you guys are actually doing the business. And I know that sounds so simple. Yeah. I don't need to speak for Noah, and I'll show. There's so many people who are really fantastic at marketing, phenomenal at marketing, and they're not necessarily living, breathing, doing the business. And it's great when you can get with people who are factually doing stuff. I loved your post earlier on. It's always a good day when the mailman goes past your house and drops off a check.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. So
yeah,
no, it will be a pleasure to come on here multiple times, Noah.
We're going to do that.
Absolutely.
We're going to do that. And if you got a question, if you're watching this and you got a question for Jamie, or you want help in an area, reach out to him. Can I give him your phone number?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just there. Yep. There's my number, and they can reach out to me.
Yeah. And
here's actually a good word to finish on. The most powerful word, if that's okay, the most powerful word that people can use in any sale is the word believe. Believe. If you ask someone, do you believe I can get your home sold? And they say yes, it's very difficult for them to say no after the fact to listing with you. And the reason being is everyone does things based on belief. Think about people who go to church or some form of religion. What's the one word they go based around? Belief. People go to college and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars because they've told themselves a story that they believe that when they get out of there, they're set for life. So if you use the word believe, it's an amazing word. It cheekily, if people believe after listening to me for 40 minutes and 12 seconds that I know things around communication, because All right. Would you believe there's way more? Would you believe that I can help you? If you are saying, you know what? Yeah. Noah's got the phone number beneath his slide, you know, and you're welcome for guys to reach out to me. So cheers.
All right. Thanks, Jamie. Cheers, mate. We love having you on.
Love being on. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Rings on the front grill, raised a couple mil so I can make a deal. Now I'm feeling too trill, like it isn't real. Whether you in it for the love or the thrill, live life.
True story. Like
that's awesome.
So
don't drive and text.
Yeah. So don't drive and text. And then she texted the listing. And on the right hand side is an essay that a client of mine.
Hey, real quick, do the mind reading thing. That could be like a funny after the cut, like.
Well, if you're recording it, and you can add it in, like
I'm still recording, so I can cut and paste stuff, but I can make this I can make this separate as like a goof, because I didn't want to bring it back up because I was like, well, fuck, what if it doesn't work out how he wants it to work out?
Okay, let's see if this works out, and if it does, great, wonderful. Okay, all right. So, damn it, I've got to think of a good example. All right, I've got a great one. And you'll like this. Zach Hernandez got me playing poker with former Dynatechers. All right. Okay. So, do you know Charles Pennant? Have you ever met Charles Pennant? Christy. No. Oh, he's amazing. So myself, Zach Hernandez, we're all playing poker. All right. So imagine for me, not a card trick, Noah. Imagine a pack of cards. All right. Picture a pack of cards in your mind. Now we're going to go really fast here. You can't jump ahead. And you've got to go really mega quick. And you've got to answer so I can hear you. And you can't jump ahead. Just specific questions really fast. Okay. So we're going to play a game. So we take the jokers out. All right. And going really fast. All right. Really fast. Once you take those jokers out without jumping ahead, you got two colors. You got black, you got red. Pick one real quick.
Red.
Of red. You got hearts, you got diamonds. Pick one real quick.
Diamonds.
Of the diamonds, you got numbers, you got face.
Face.
Of the face, you got the jack, the queen, the king.
Jack.
Queen and king left. Pick one.
King. What?
Okay, and that's the only card I carry in my wallet.
Okay, we should have done it.
We should have. And the truth of the matter, you can put it in there now. All right. And the truth of the matter is, it's always the king. It's predetermined. So the psychology is this. It's not to manipulate. The idea is this. The king of diamonds signifies, I agree with you. If you go into every dialogue with a predetermined outcome, elevated with consciousness, you would never ask bad questions. You'd only ask good questions that lead the person to that place.
Right.
It's like when Tom Brady, when he went out he got to the stadium, he went out by himself on the pitch. I wasn't in his head. I'd like to believe that he's envisioning lifting the trophy at the end, right? He's doing that vision play to make it more of a solid outcome. It's the same thing in our communication. If we go in with rather than a variable, we're all over the place, winging it, as they call it. We go in with a predetermined. That's why what, why, how was so amazing. Hey, I need to get to a place where I'm going to ask them to start talking a lot, and or repeat the last word, like strategies. I need this person to talk more. And if you can do that, you're going to end up at the king of diamonds. And that's the psychology behind it. So please God, you can edit this away or throw it in as a nice piece afterwards.
Conscious communication.
Yep.